Hiya guys, it's CB300 Challenger here with another YouTube video. Feeling slightly under the weather. It's probably because of the journey that I made. As you can see on the screen, I did this journey in the past 24 hours, feeling a bit run down. I did it both up and down. The footage you're about to see is not of that journey, due to the fact that obviously it's a lot of motorway riding, if you like, and also I'm not gonna lie, I kind of forgot to take my camera with me, but I thought it'd be a cool little story that we could sort of talk about, basically tell you how it went, how I travelled a grand total of 358 miles on my CB300R in 24 hours. The footage you're seeing now is video shot around mid-Devon. I believe this was the crediting run on the way down. So a couple of days ago I released a video on how I failed my mod 2 3 times, and this was part of that video, although technically I didn't use this footage because this footage was from the way down. So I shot the footage on the way up for you guys and talked about my sort of journey on 2 wheels and how I got to pass my full A motorcycle license. And this here is the footage on the way back down. Promised you guys that I'd show it. It's pretty interesting. This is quite funny actually. I thought I was in a bit of trouble there. Not gonna lie. It's the Rozzers, the cops, and I thought, oh, what have I done? Turns out nothing. So there you go. They were off to do whatever they were off to do. Probably catch some speeders, I guess, or some of a more serious incident. So this video is basically, as I've just talked about earlier, it's about how I travelled on my CB300R for 358 miles. So as you can imagine, riding around on a bike for quite a lot of time is uncomfortable. A lot of people that might be looking at, you know, a 300 might be thinking, oh, is it good enough to handle, you know, long journeys? Is it comfortable? Does it keep up motorway speeds well enough? Does it have enough oomph to get you, you know, out of trouble, let's say? And I can confirm that after a 6-hour test on this wonderful machine, I can confirm it does do the job very well. Just like any other bike, really, I'd imagine. You know, it's got its quirks. You know, any bike you ride on is not going to be comfortable, really, after, you know, a prolonged amount of time in the sack. You know, the saddle is not built for one's buttocks to be, for better lack of the word, pounded by continuous vibrations and, you know, from like the road surface, you know, and all that. So, you know, it does come with its challenges. Obviously, a bike like the 300R is, you know, it's obviously built to do this, what we're doing right now, twisties. It's built to sort of have a good zap around town, have a good little sort of like good time on the old twisty roads. It can keep up with, you know, traffic. You know, it's a great bike. But I thought to myself, well, the reason I bought this bike was, you know, I wanted something lightweight, something that I could deadlift, because I need to deadlift the bike to be able to get out onto the road from my current living situation. So I wanted a bike that can easily maneuver around, sort of like, if you can imagine your mod 1 test, where you're told to sort of like, you know, get off the bike and then sort of move it from one stand to the next stand. It's sort of like that, but I've had a lot of practice doing that, because every bike I've ever had, I've had to do that. So, you know, you can't really ride around with a humongous, well, you know, I can't really ride around with a humongous bike that weighs 250 kilos, because I won't be able to deadlift it out of my house to be able to sort of get on the street. So that's one of the reasons I bought this bike. But I thought, you know, if you look at old photos and stories back in the day, most people rode around on 250s and 300s. You know, that was the sort of bike to have. You know, that was the sort of bike that, you know, most people used to go touring on. So I thought, you know, I thought to myself, well, you know, I've got a work-related trip. instead of taking a train, I will take the 300, the trusty 300, to see how it performs on the road. And we're going to talk about that today. So first of all, the good. The good is the bike didn't blow up. The bike performed well. It can do motorway speeds. It can do in excess of motorway speeds as well. Not that I did, but it can definitely. It's got a lot of punch left in its sixth gear, so you could definitely, get it up to, I'd imagine, 95 to 100. I was sitting cruising about 70. 70 indicated, 75 indicated, sort of thing. If GPS on, you can tell that GPS speed was around 69 to 70 at 75 indicated, so pretty decent. And obviously, as you can tell, if any of you guys been on the motorway, people do tend to speed on the motorway quite a lot. So most people are doing 90 on the motorway. I didn't fancy it, so I thought, I'm on just past my test. There's no way I'm going to be speeding and breaking the law. So that's what I decided to do. Just be a good boy, enjoy the bike for what it is, stick to the national speed limit. But obviously, going through certain motorways, like the M5 is not a smart motorway, but the M6 is, and that had its own challenges with its variable speed limits and its average speed cameras. So obviously, if you overspeed on the those areas, let's say you pass one speed camera and then start juicing it, the other speed camera is going to pick it up and work out that you were going 2 or 3 miles an hour over the limit, which surprisingly quite a lot of people were doing. I was quite surprised by that. The funny thing is, though, as soon as you get onto the M6, you see a lot of people slam their brakes on, like from the M5 to the M6. M5 was all like constant overspeeding, and then after M6 it's slow down all of a sudden. We gotta be our best behaviour, boys and girls, that sort of thing. So the bike did keep up, so that was good. Another thing that was good was it felt really nimble on the way back, without trying to sort of jump ahead here. On the way back, or on the way there, it was a lot easier than on the way back. Unfortunately, I came back on a Friday, and yesterday, today's Saturday, where I'm recording this voiceover, and unfortunately, it seemed like every person in the entire universe had decided to leave Bristol City. So as soon as I got to junction 19, I guess, or 20, 18, sorry, Clevedon, I don't know. I'm still working on my junctions. It was gridlock. I mean, there was people stuck in traffic for hours, for 2 or 3 hours. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of filtering. It's not something that I've, been on a 125 before, you don't feel confident filtering on what I didn't anyway. I didn't like it. It felt a bit unsteady. But I decided, to do some filtering. I've not done much of it. I'm not a filter. I'm not a guy that likes to filter a lot. But I filtered through at least 50 to 60 miles of traffic yesterday, where everyone was gridlocked and standstill. I was, Waze was telling me that we had a potential wait of 45 minutes, like full stop wait, like dead end stop, like wait for traffic. So I decided that I wasn't going to put up with that, so there we go. So I filtered, and the bike kept up. Unfortunately, people aren't that happy when you filter. Part of me thinks that the bike's exhaust is too low and people can't hear me coming. Even when I give it a bit of a rev, it sounds the bike isn't a Harley by any means. It doesn't sound like it's crunching or popping that much. It will pop from time to time, but it won't be like so people can't hear it. There are some people that get out of the way, and some people, some idiots like to sort of get in your way, if you like, sort of try and block you off, which I don't understand. Especially when my boot might accidentally or not accidentally graze their vehicle, if they did such a thing, So that's the good. The good of the bike feels like it can nip in and out of the lanes really easily. I've been on my 125 on the motorway when I passed my test. Obviously, I had my 125 for about a week and a half. Went on the motorway a couple of times with it, and it felt like it was awful. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't fun at all. it didn't feel like I had to spend a lot of time in the left lane, sometimes the middle, and then back in the left. I never ventured out into the right hand lane, far right, third lane. On a bike, it kind of feels like, especially this one that can do 70 indicated, you know, easily at 6.5 to 7,000 RPM out of 12, whatever it is, 11. It doesn't feel like it's being pushed. It feels like it's, don't get me wrong, it's no, you know, it's no 800 or 1,000 where it's sort of like running at 70 miles an hour at 2,000 RPM. You know, it's not that. There's slight vibrations, but very slight. You know, it's not off-putting at all. It's not like the 125 where it was literally rattling when you're on the motorway. So, you know, I'd have to put down the vibrations as a good thing, as in lack of vibrations. That's another good thing from the bike. I think it was pretty decent, well put together. It really nipped in and out of the lanes properly. The bad thing, so the only bad thing that I can really think of with the CB300R is just how bloody uncomfortable the seat is. I think all seats become very uncomfortable after a while, but I was like, you're struggling. My butt was struggling yesterday. I don't know if it's because obviously I did 2 trips in, you know, 24 hours. I mean, I left my house around, you know, 12 o'clock. Well, no, it was earlier than that, 7 o'clock, and then I stopped off at work for a bit, which was on the way, and then I left at about 1 o'clock and got to Leicester, Lutterworth, I believe it was, at about 4 o'clock, 4:30, and then went to bed. Obviously, after, you know, in the hotel, I had some food, went to bed, woke up, went to a course, did the course. Course finished early, so I left at 12:30. Left the training centre at 12:30, rode back, and it took me, I got back home at 6. It was like, you know, it's a good 5.5 hours of just, you know, don't get me wrong, I stopped a couple of times, I had to, because my knees, it's the riding position on the knees is not great, it hurts a little bit, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, so it was, you know, all in all, I think, you know, obviously, that's quite extreme, not many people do those sort of mileage, you know, in 24 hours. I think it proves that yes, it rattles you a little bit, but most bikes are a bit uncomfortable traveling at quite far distances. This bike did a good job. It kind of made me think that I'm definitely going to be taking it to different places, especially abroad. I want to have a bit of a ride around, and the thing is, you know, yes, you have to get off the bike every once in a while, every an hour and a half maybe, but that's the joy of it, isn't it? You get off, you do a little bit of exploring, rest your buttocks for a bit, have some food, you know, go to the bathroom, and then get back on the saddle, sort of thing. You know, it's not quite like, you know, on a car you can drive for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles, but you've got to remember that on a bike it's not just really the seat. You're moving your body a lot, you know, you're doing a lot of counter steering, you know, a lot of, you know, your hands are moving a lot, your wrists are moving a lot, your neck's moving a lot, you're just moving, so it's a workout. And unfortunately for me, I dropped my helmet before I left and broke my visor a little bit. So on the way back, unfortunately, on the motorway, my helmet, my visor decided to rip off my bike and fly off. Rip off my helmet, sorry. But it did rip off my bike as well, because it bounced off my forks and then flew off into the central reservation somewhere. I hope it didn't hit anyone. Obviously, I looked back to try and see, but obviously can't stop on the M5. But yeah, so I had the wind blasting my face for a very good amount of time. For a good 3 hours, just blasting and blasting and blasting. So my eyes were tearing everywhere, and my glasses got all sort of steamy. It was not very nice. So yeah, that's the story of how I travelled on 358 miles on my CB300R in 24 hours. You know, is it doable? Yes. Would I recommend it? Not on the motorway. I think it would be much nicer to do it on the twisties. I know that sounds a bit counterproductive, but going at high speeds for that amount of time is just not that fun, is it? You know, you just like to slow down a bit, take in the scenery. Will I be doing it again? Yes, unfortunately I will, because I'm due to do it soon. Right, and that wraps up this video. We've got a little black screen. Thanks for watching, and speak to you guys soon.